Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bells Must Ring podcast. I am your host, Andrew Rice, here with my co-host, Arnav Sarkar. We have a little bit of a special podcast for you guys here today. We have two athletes from the Rutgers women's rowing team, Lauren Andersen and Beatrice Colclough. I got it right that time? Okay, good. They recently just won a competition overseas, the Island Cup at the Henley Royal Regatta. Got to make sure I get that one right too. From what I understand, that is like the international like boat race. Essentially, that's the one that most college clubs aspire to go to. A very prestigious invite. More of what a way to cap off the 50th anniversary of the program at Rutgers by winning such a prestigious competition. And a little bit further back, you guys had a really good showing at nationals. The team, I understand, like as a whole, placed eighth. So definitely a lot of winning going on with the program recently. So just to give a little bit of background on you, Lauren, first, you were a College Rowing Association All-American Honorable Mention. As a junior, you finished second place with the second varsity 8 at the 2024 Big Ten Rowing Championship. What was that? What was that like? Because that was a lot further than Rutgers has made it in the past, right? To my knowledge.
Yeah, so this year was one of our best years. The only time that we had a better national placing was 2021, I believe, during COVID year. It was a little bit, we finished 7th that year, but this year finishing 8th was our second best performance. So it was just really great to get to compete at that level and just get to bring home such a great result.
Yeah, that sounds like quite a treat. Sounds like quite an accomplishment. Congratulations. And to give a little bit of background on Beatrice as well, I understand that you received the U19 World Championship for Great Britain. Oh wow, that's what a name for that award. The Coupe de la Jeunesse Gold for Great Britain. Did I get that right?
Yeah, Coupe de la Jeunesse.
Okay, you could have just said I got it completely wrong. And that was in 2022. I guess for more of like because if you don't mind, like giving a little bit of a breakdown on what those rewards mean, because I don't think that you took happened in Great Britain. I'm not sure if the United States has a counterpart for that.
So in 2022, that was my first time racing internationally. So I raced for Great Britain at the Coupe de la Jeunesse, which is essentially like a version of Europeans. So the American equivalent in rowing would be like Canamex. And so Canada, America, and Mexico come together and race. And it's like one of the first international races that juniors often get to do. So I did that in 2022 with Great Britain, where we won, and I was in the junior women's 8. And then in 2023, I raced at the under-19 World Championships. And so that's where I won gold with Great Britain as well.
What an incredible feat. And you were also part of the A crew that won the Island Cup at the Royal Regatta as well. So kind of diving deep into each of your specific careers, starting off with you, Lauren, what got you into rowing in the first place? It's not a sport that is, I guess, widely celebrated over here in the States. A very few high schools participate in the sport, I would say. So how did you find your journey? How did that journey lead you to Rutgers?
Yeah, so it's definitely not a common high school sport. Most people have to travel pretty far and go to a different club team. But fortunately, my high school, Rumson Fairhaven in New Jersey, had a rowing team because of the river that flows through town. So I was a tennis player originally, and then my high school biology teacher was like the rowing coach. So he was like, "You should really join like rowing. You're tall, you'd be great at it." It's like, I don't know. And then eventually I finally tried it out and it went really well. So I got to do a pretty great career in high school throughout my high school team. And then I had a lot of different connections that were recommending Rutgers to me. So I had a great like recruiting process with Rutgers, and it was just the best academic and athletic option I could imagine for myself. So yeah, that brought me to Rutgers.
I gotcha. Those high school recruiters, they're ruthless, aren't they?
Yeah.
um, so I guess were you like contacted by a specific coach or something like that, or
Oh,
was
for
it?
Rutgers.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So I had like a recruiting profile, so there was some conversation through there. I think I also reached out to the assistant coaches at the time, and we were just in conversation for about a year before I committed.
Okay. Was there any other like schools that gave you like significant attention, or that were trying to get you to come there instead?
Honestly, not really. I wasn't that highly recruited out of high school, so I was really appreciative that Rutgers, being a top 20 program the past several years, had given me that attention and like believed in my potential. So I looked at a few smaller schools on the East Coast, but Rutgers was definitely the best option.
Well, considering the awards that you have gotten since going into college, I'd say you might have been a little overlooked. Um, you were also named a All Big Ten first to all. Oh my God, the All Big Ten first team, if I can pronounce words correctly. Uh, what does receiving that honor mean to you?
It really meant a lot. So after Big Tens, we have an award ceremony where all the teams that medaled receive their medals, and then at the end they go through the all Big Ten selections and the sportsmanship awards. And so we're all sitting there, and you don't know who's going to get the awards. It's based on coaches' recommendations. And so when they called my name up, I got a little emotional because I was just really, really happy to receive that recognition. I had a tough year last year. I had an injury, so I missed almost the whole season. I came back for Big Tens in the second eight last year, but that was my only race junior year. So getting to come back senior year strong and have a great season just meant a lot. And then getting that award really made me feel like really recognized.
So they did tell you before you went out there that you were receiving a reward. You were just there.
Our coach gave us a little hint. He said you might get an award to those of us that received them, but he didn't know for sure who would get it. So they call the names out, and it's exciting.
Okay, I was gonna say like because was this held on campus or was this held like?
This was at the Big Ten Championships in Indianapolis. Yeah. So like
Oh,
right after
okay.
racing ends, we go to the award ceremony.
Gotcha. So you were already there. I thought you had to like go somewhere.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. I got you now. And you said that you dealt with an injury your junior year. How was the process of coming back for that? Obviously, you still had your standout senior season, but dealing with injuries never easy. It's something that you slowly have to build yourself back up to the speed of everything, I would assume. What is like? How was that recovery process for you?
It was pretty tough, but I was really lucky to have a lot of really great support from our coaches and our trainers and the medical staff. So throughout the summer, I worked with them a lot and did a lot of PT rehab, things like that, just to get myself back on my feet and ease into training again. So then I got to do a lot of training on my own in the summer and then come back in the fall in a pretty good position. So it took a lot of hard work throughout senior year, though, to work with the coaches and work with the trainers to make sure I was able to stay healthy and competing.
You're trying to like avoid the re-injury, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Arnav, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask for Lauren real quick?
Um, I mean, I think for now, I guess that kind of covers it. But do you wanna, I guess, shift over to Beatrice now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I guess like the same thing like that we asked Lauren. Like what got you into rowing like in the first place? Like how do you know this was your sport? Obviously in the UK and England, like I feel like it's a little bit different. But like what got you personally interested in rowing as a sport?
So I initially started high school at a different school, and after a few months, moved over to Shrewsbury School, which was where I picked up rowing. It wasn't something I was particularly interested in. I wasn't a sporty child growing up. It wasn't something I really enjoyed. But my dad really pushed me out of my comfort zone and pushed me to try something new. So I ended up picking rowing. And so I started it at school, and not long after I started, COVID hit in the UK, and so I ended up having a year out of the sport after only doing it for 2 or 3 months. But then I got back into it after that period, and I've just been with it ever since.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I mean, COVID definitely came at an interesting time, like for me too, like going into college, ending high school, all of that kind of stuff. But I mean, I guess like what made you choose Rutgers? Like obviously I guess as an international student it might have been like a little bit different from Lauren, but what made you choose like Rutgers and the rowing team here at Rutgers?
So initially, my first decision was whether I wanted to go to the US. I was still toying with the idea of staying back home because that's where my family is. That was the education system that I knew. But there's so much opportunity in the US with sports and academics. So I looked over here to see what there was. I had a lot of guidance from GB Rowing and some people who had been through my program at school that had come over here. And then I spoke to a number of different universities and reached out and filled out the questionnaires and had chats with them online and things. And then it ended up coming down to Rutgers. It was just the best fit for me. It had everything I needed.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then I guess being from England, like obviously, I'm sure like I mean, for all rowers, it really the Henley Royal Regatta means a lot, but it probably meant like even more to you to be able to come back home and compete in that race. So like, I guess what exactly did that mean for you to not only compete there, but even win the Island Cup competition?
It was really special. This was my fourth Henley. I raced it 3 times with school. And the furthest I ever made it was the Friday. So it's like the knockout style. And so each day you have to progress through that round to race again. And so I hadn't made it to the weekend before. And I remember on our Friday race when we came off, I was like, guys, I'm racing on the weekend at Henley. And it was huge. It was really special. It was probably one of the only opportunities that some of my family will get to watch me represent Rutgers. And so for all of my family to be able to come down and meet my teammates and watch us race and represent the block R was really special. And I mean, to win it was just the cherry on top. It was really special.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm sure that was. I guess with that being discussed, if you guys could both like explain to I guess the viewers, like what are your positions like on the boat, and what are like the differences between the positions, because like from or my understanding and from his, like I know there's a coxswain who I guess their responsibility is to like guide the boat, and then there's in a 8-person boat, like I guess each person like works together to steer it. If it's a 4-person boat, like same thing. But are there like differences I guess between like the individual positions, and like I guess which ones did you guys like do?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, so our cox was Alana. And so she was steering the boat and she was making calls throughout the race. So she was making technical calls, motivation, different strategic moves we wanted to make during the race. In terms of the seats in the boats, there's 2 different sides. So that just comes down to your like technical preference and what you've been training. For me, I was always starboard. It was just the first side that I was more naturally comfortable with when I picked up sweep rowing. And so I was in the 6th seat in the boat. So I was mainly like helping Stroke, Ellie, and 7 Kate set up the rhythm for the boat. And then Lauren, do you want to share about your seat?
Sure. Yeah. So the boat seats count down 8 to 1. So the coxswain sits in front of the 8 seat. So the 8 seat is the stroke seat, who we all follow. So B is 8, 7, 6. She was 6. And then after that is 5-4, and I was 3. So basically 6 to 3 are usually like the people that are a little bit stronger. But it depends on every boat. Like there's going to be strong people in every seat if you want a good boat. So our stroke and 7 seat, Kate and Ellie, they're like really great at setting up the rhythm, and Beatrice helps translate that to the rest of us behind her. And then 3 seat honestly gets a bad rep because it's supposed to be the least important seat in the boat, but everyone has to contribute some way. So I got to row the 3 seat, and then behind us we had 2 and 1. So they help to set up the boat and keep the balance.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like how each I guess each individual seat, like they kind of play their own role in everything. Yeah, definitely was wondering about that. But I guess in terms of like the season like Rutgers women's rowing had, obviously like you guys won like the Doc Hosea Invitational and the Women's Eastern Sprints earlier in 2025 before like the Big Ten Championship competition. Like I guess after that, like did you guys kind of know that there was something like special going on that you guys could potentially win more competitions like down the line?
Yeah, we kind of knew in the fall, just coming into the year, like we just had a super great team energy going, and we just knew that we were ahead of the curve because there's a lot of metrics that we record on our team, like your times on the erg, which is the indoor rowing machine, and like we do different fitness tests, so and measurements. So just like throughout all of that, like our team trained really hard over the summer because we wanted to get a better result than last year. So we started off the year. Our first real big competition was the Princeton Chase in November, and we had our best result there. Put down some pretty competitive times, so we were getting pretty excited then. So we all kept training really hard over winter break and came back in the spring ready to go. So the Doc Hosey was our first big spring race that we won, which was really exciting because it meant a lot because Doc Hosey, he actually was a doctor at Rutgers. So bringing that trophy home for the first time in a few years was really meaningful for us. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I didn't know that about Doc Hosey. So that's interesting. I guess bringing the trophy back. And then obviously like going into the Big Ten championships, Rutgers had a very good showing. They finished second behind Washington. In the varsity 8 bow in particular, they finished second to Washington, which is ranked second in the country by less than a second. So I guess what was your guys like experience like competing in the Big Ten championships and finishing second in the overall competition?
I think all year our head coach Justin Price talked a lot about ascending through the season, and we often referred to an analogy using Mount Everest of climbing higher and what base camp you were on. And so we started back in the fall down at the bottom, and it was always climbing and pushing for more. And it was very team driven, and we were all showing up for each other every single day. And so I think to be able to come and, we saw that momentum earlier in the season when we were doing well and we raced some of these teams. And then to come into the later spring at the Big Ten championships and, all of our boats there put down such strong performances, and each boat set a team record in their boat category. And so I think it was really special for us all to see that the hours and the time we were putting in came through and, gave us those results. They didn't just happen. And Justin talked a lot about winners who know why they win. And we put in the hours and we got the results exactly for, the training that we did.
I like the mountain climbing analogy that he used there. So making your way top, going up to each base camp. It's very clever. What was not something that I would think about to use this as like a sports analogy, but I guess like going back to that analogy, when you guys had a very strong showing at the nationals, they finished 8th. The varsity 4 finished 5th. The varsity 8 finished 8th, and the second varsity 8 won the C final. I guess like where I know it's like keep getting better every season. But is that kind of like you're climbing the mountain? Is that kind of like you're climbing the mountaintop, or at least until the next season begins?
Yeah, usually I feel like Big Tens is kind of meant to be the summit of the mountain, but we kind of take things one step at a time. So once we get to that Big Ten like performance, you have to earn the right to go to NCAA's. So like once we performed well enough at Big Tens, then it was kind of like we uncovered more mountain almost. So once we earned the right and got the invitation to the national championship, then we were like, all right, we're still climbing, like got to keep going. And then kind of same scenario with Henley.
Get your gear back on. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Not done yet.
Yeah. And a lot of the rowers, or at least a couple of them at Rutgers, had experience at Henley. I know, Beatrice, you just said that you competed there before. I think you said 3 times, along with Elizabeth Enriquez and Olivia Cook. How would you feel that? How did you feel that like impacted with that experience that impacted your performance? I would say.
Henley is a very sort of different race than we would experience over here in the States in terms of our racing season. It's one-on-one and the winner advances and the loser is knocked out. Some crews don't even qualify for the side-by-side racing. And so I think being able to have had the experience of going down that body of water and experiencing that racing before was definitely something that helped me bring to my teammates and to, explain the differences that we had and we would face when we were racing there. There's different advantages to the side you're racing on at different points in the course. It's a different atmosphere, having the boat tents. So all of our boats were stored together. And, often before we were boating for the race, we would see our competitor warming up, having their pre-team chat and then boating too. And so it creates a very different atmosphere than what we were used to over here. And so I think being able to share those, and so we had the knowledge and we could go in expecting it and ready for it, so nothing came as a surprise because we prepared, was really beneficial.
Yeah, to add on to that, it definitely really helped having Bee's experience because none of us had raced before in the boat. So like Bee really stepped up and like was a huge leader for our boat because she was able to provide all those insights, but also like help get the boat together and unite our mindsets going into every race, like focusing on what's important every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say that there was like certain lessons that were kind of passed down, or I guess like certain things that were incorporated into the game plan because of the experience at the regattas before?
I would think so.
Yeah, I think it was less doing something in response to an experience before, but more, each step taking the experience just so we could be prepared for what may come. So I think, in terms of like technical focuses, at the start, there's Temple Island. And so the start is sheltered. But when we would come off of that, the wind would come across and hit us. So it can be quite unsettling in the boat rhythm. So something we would talk about is just how we could focus on keeping that rhythm and setting it through that area. So it was less we were changing what we were doing, but more putting a specific focus on emphasis in improving that area.
Arnav, I believe I cut you off a little bit there. Sorry about that.
No, I mean, I guess I did just want to ask, obviously Henley, there's like a lot of different competitions. I was also reading on the Scarlines website, as well as in my own piece that I covered, so Elizabeth Enriquez and Olivia Cook won the Spirit Pairs Regatta. The B team competed in the head-to-heads. I saw there's a lot of other competitions. So I guess what are all the different types of competitions that go on at Henley, the whole event, because obviously it seems like a lot of different universities from all over, they come and show up there, and it's it's a big race. It's more than just the Island Challenge Cup.
So there's a number of different categories which have different entry requirements and limitations. So for us, we were in the Island Challenge Cup, which is the University Women's Eights. And then our B crew was also racing in that same category. So there's only the one University Women's Eights. So there wasn't an A and a B crew category. We were all racing the same crews in the same entry cohort. There's a number of different ones. So there was the junior events, which was the under 19 and the high school teams. And then it goes all the way up to the open 8s and 4s. And so anyone can enter them. So, I mean, for example, Ollie Zeidler, who is multiple time race at the Olympics, World Championships, like he's boating next to us to race in the single. And there's multiple Olympians there and world champions and everything. So it really spans across the whole rowing world, from people who have, only in their first or second of season of rowing to Olympic champions.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. Because I mean, some of the, I guess, previous experience I have like watching rowing is definitely like on the Olympic stage and stuff like that. So that's pretty awesome. And then I guess in terms of like in the Island Challenge Cup, obviously it went over like a 5-day period from like Thursday to like Sunday, I believe. On the way, you guys defeated some of the top teams, starting with Newcastle B, London A, DSR Laga, which is from the Netherlands, and then in the semifinals and the finals, taking down Durham and Newcastle A. So to my understanding, some of the top teams in like all of England and really prestigious, obviously, with the, to use like a sports analogy, like the home court, I don't even know, the home water advantage overseas, I guess. But like, I guess, what does it mean to like be able to like take on these top teams around England, around the world, and in their, in their own country, and like be able to pull off victories against, some of these really prestigious clubs?
I think it was really cool because going into the race, we were kind of underdogs. They accepted, I believe, 24 entries, and they pick the top 8 that they think are the best crews, and they have those crews get to skip a day of racing. So they basically get like a bye, like if you were to like the NCAA basketball tournament. So we were not given one of those. So going into the race, we were like, oh, they don't even think we're top 8. Like, so it was just really cool every day to get to kind of be that underdog and go into the race and upset every top British team. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I think that was definitely something. So they took those 8 and they seeded them. So as Laura said, they didn't race a day. And so they didn't see us coming through and progressing all the way. And so I think to be able to turn up every day and make that statement of this is who Rutgers is and this is what we can do was really special. And, for our B crew as well, they turned up and they showed up and showed the depth of our program, and that, it doesn't just end with our A boat, that it actually progresses so much deeper and so much further. And there's so many athletes who are back here at home training too that allowed us to produce the speeds in both of those 8s.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, definitely all pretty impressive. But I think the most impressive thing was in the final, setting a course record of 6 minutes 45 seconds, which is 8 seconds faster than the previous time on that course. So I mean, like, how did you guys not only like win the race, but like, set a course record that's 8 seconds faster? I mean, I was like watching like the clip on like Instagram or wherever it was, and like you guys were so far ahead of the other boat, like they weren't even in the frame like by the end of it. Like, how did you guys like have such a good time in the final?
We went into it with that goal. The first day that we raced, we were 3 seconds off the course record. So we were like, wow, like we could definitely set the course record. So we had a little bit more favorable conditions the first day and the last day. So going into the last day, we knew that it was going to be possible. So the whole race, we were like, regardless of where we're at in the field, we're going to go all out and try to set the best time that we possibly can. We didn't know whether we would win that race or not, but we knew that we were going to give it our all and lay it all out there and try and stamp our names in the record book. So it was just really rewarding when we found out afterwards that we were able to do that.
Yeah, I think the same, like, in that first day when we saw that we were 3 seconds off and we didn't push ourselves all the way to the line, knowing that we had potentially many more days of racing to come. And so to be able to go out on Sunday and our Cox Alana, when we were able to take our lead in that race, was calling us and pushing us to go for that record. We knew it was something we wanted to do to finish with our statement, and I think we did exactly just that.
Yeah, no, such a strong way to like finish the season, and obviously like being the 50th year of the program and everything. Definitely really cool. Obviously representing Rutgers on the international stage. I guess another thing that I was reading about the trip as a whole. The R Fund like spent a lot. They had like donations. I believe over like almost 350,000. So like definitely a lot of like alumni support, a lot of like support from previous athletes that were funded the support. So or funded the trip rather. I guess like what is having like that kind of support, like not only monetary but also just like the financial support, and just knowing that they're behind you guys, like what does that mean to be able to have experiences like this that's funded by like Rutgers alumni, other people in the Rutgers community that really care enough to want to see their athletes succeed on the biggest stages?
Yeah, it means so much. I've been an R Fund ambassador, so a student athlete ambassador at some of the games. So I've gotten to meet a lot of the donors. So when we found out this past year that we had some really big donors step up because they wanted to send us on this trip, we were just really, really excited. And it's just like we're so grateful for all of the support that we get because rowing isn't always the most like well-known, well-supported sport. So having all these people behind us supporting us through this trip was just really meaningful to us. And then the fact that we got to go on the trip the whole time, we were trying to make the donors proud and give them a little return on their investment there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really special. I mean, nothing we do would be possible without the support of those who donate to our program. And to be able to go and experience this trip was truly once in a lifetime. It's not something that many people get to experience. And so the fact that those donors and Rutgers made this possible for us is just, it's incredible. And it's really hard to put into words quite what it means. But yeah, it simply wouldn't be possible without them. So their support we will forever be indebted to.
Yeah, definitely. I guess just to kind of like end off here, obviously this was a big year, with the Big Ten championships, the nationals like finishing higher than in most of the seasons previously, eighth, and then winning this, the Island Cup. Obviously it's such a prestigious accomplishment, but going into next year, like is there anything that Rutgers fans like should know about the state of the program, like where it's headed, like any more big competitions or things that you guys like aspire to achieve going into next season?
I think we're just getting started. I think, it's always been slightly overlooked, and we were able to come out this year and show something special's building over here. And we're just getting started. There's more to come, and I'm really excited for next year. Obviously, Lauren has now graduated, but I will be returning, and I can't wait to see what this program can do and how much further we can take this.
Yeah, it's really cool getting to,
No,
getting to graduate and like leave the team on such a great note. And then I'm just really excited to see all of the girls on the team like going to be juniors and seniors next year, freshmen and sophomores even. Like they're just really going to take the reins and take this team wherever they want to go with it. And I think coming off of a great year, they're just have a lot of momentum. It's going to be great to watch, cheering them on.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like a lot of Rutgers sports are kind of on that upward trajectory. I mean, as like someone who follows the football team, like they've been kind of on the climb for a while. So it's always exciting to see the successes come, no matter what sport it is. But I guess another question to end off here. I guess where can Rutgers fans like support you guys or follow or watch you guys race? Because I saw like nationals this year was like in I think like Princeton or West Windsor, so not far. Do you guys like have competitions like where fans like actually like attend in person, see the races? Like I know it's not usually discussed on like many of the media channels and stuff, so I was just wondering like where could Rutgers fans I guess follow you guys or watch you guys compete if they so wanted to?
So all of our racing schedule gets posted online onto the Rutgers Athletics. We don't know where we'll be racing next year. Obviously, with rowing, it does move around a bit. We have to go where the bodies of water are.
Right.
But there's undoubtedly going to be some races over in New Jersey next year. I mean, in fall, we'll probably be doing Princeton Chase again, so it's just down the road. But that's all online on the Rutgers Athletics website. And then we have the Instagram account, Rutgers W Rowing. And so there's often a lot of updates shared on there too.
Cool. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, obviously, with this team having such a successful season, like I feel like it was important to, spread the word and get everything out. But I guess Andrew, did you have any more questions that you wanted to ask them?
Not really something that I could think of off the top of my head. Yeah, obviously, every Rutgers fan should be put on notice now with the recent success. Honestly, if I would encourage people to watch like the final clip of your regatta as
That
well.
was pretty exciting, like the way they were commentating that and everything.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
honestly probably the most exciting Rutgers moment in like the past 6 months, I would
Probably,
say.
yeah, the way things have gone this year. Yeah.
Yeah. At least with the way the announcer was.
Oh, he was so excited.
Was going crazy too. But no, I don't really have anything off the top of my head. So I think that unless you had something you wanted to add, Arnav?
No, I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything, but yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely good to have you guys on, and yeah, I mean, hopefully we can, have some more athletes from, other sports, I guess, in the future. It's definitely a great way to start this series.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. This was great. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. It was great to be able to share some more about our program and, get some light on all that we're doing.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I'm excited to see where this podcast is headed.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, me too. We are too. Yeah.
upward trajectory, hopefully.
Yeah, you're climbing.
Yeah, exactly.
We're at base camp right now. We need to take that next rung up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that just about does it for this podcast. Thank you both for coming on. Remember, all Rutgers fans, at least check out that last clip of the regatta. And as always, remember that the bells must ring.